Thanks for coming, everyone. I am nullwolf, and it's been a little while since we have done one of these. I'll explain why that is in a moment, just for anyone that's curious. Just wanted to give a little shout out to Reboot for the venue and the beer. So, this was formerly Cyberspectrum Sydney. So it was sort of based off of the Cyberspectrum in the Bay Area, and then Pamela O'Shea made one in Melbourne. We had a few issues with that meetup, or this meetup when we were doing it before, and largely that boiled down to time. I was effectively doing everything by myself. It was getting really hard to source speakers. We kept having to change venues and so on. And then on top of that, we were at the time unable to stream the talks live, which is a pretty big part of what Cyberspectrum tries to do to sort of foster a global collaboration and what have you. So for various reasons, that had to stop for a while I sort of thought about what shape it might take and be a little bit, run a bit more smoothly. So a big part of that was getting more people involved. So I want to thank Faz, Flux, and Pixel Cat for stepping up to the plate and helping to run these events. So again, I'm nullwolf. I work at Reboot, which is why we have the venue. I presented at a bunch of places, and I have a dog. I like SDR stuff. I'm really into physical security, red teaming, and I'm trying to get into hardware hacking. All right, so there are a lot of questions about what skill level do I need to have to turn up or to participate, and the answer is it depends. I'd suggest giving things a go, even if you think they might be a bit beyond you, because they're probably not going to be. And if it is beyond you, there are a ton of other people here and we'll help each other out. I really, really want this to be something that's community driven. So if you want to talk about something in particular, say that you want to talk about something in particular, if you want to bring in a device or something like that to try and reverse engineer or play with, or anything remotely like that, bring it in, and we'll probably sit down at the end and work together and have a crack at it, learn new things from each other. I think that the biggest thing that I'm trying to drive home here is that the primary goal is to try and get as much participation as possible so that we can all learn from each other. When I was sort of doing these talks before, it was largely just me that was speaking. So my focus areas tend to be about, pen testing and hacking. So pretty much every talk was about reverse engineering, because that's what I care about and that's what I know about. But that doesn't, do anything for people who either already know or learn about that sort of stuff, or people who want exposure to other things. And also, I want to learn stuff too. So more than happy for anyone to put their hand up and say that they want to do a talk, and as long as it's vaguely SDR related, then that'd be great. And I'm sure that there'll be people that get some value out of it. Other common FAQs. How many are there any of you guys here that haven't really done anything with SDR before? All right. So one of the most common questions that we get in regards to that is what sort of hardware you need to get started. And like with pretty much everything else that I've been saying, the answer to that is very good. So hardware starts from about the $10 to $15 range, which is the RTL SDR. For its price, it's a great little product. It's perhaps doesn't record signals as accurately as some of the other SDRs, and it doesn't have as wide of a range, but you can do a lot with it, and it's really cheap. So you can step up from there. Some of the equipment, which I don't even have, costs tens of thousands of dollars. You can get as crazy with it as you want to, but it doesn't have to be expensive, and you can get started with next to no money. I think even if you've got a Raspberry Pi at home, you can do some trickery to kind of get it to receive things on certain parts of the spectrum. So there are very many different options. And same sort of answer in regards to what sort of software you want. So there are a ton of open source tools available out there some of them are particular and want to work with a particular piece of hardware. But even then, there are open source sort of bridging applications that kind of add a layer of abstraction to that, so that you have more options in regards to hardware. But pretty much regardless of what you want to do, there's a great chance that you'll find that someone out there has written something and open sourced it, and you can download it, give it a go, and have a crack. I will just say one thing on that. Sometimes installing some of this software can be painful, even if you've done it before. And things just won't work for no apparent reason. So if you encounter an issue like that, or you want some help getting started, bring your laptop along, or if you brought one today and there's a piece of hardware or software or something that you can't get running, then we'll help you out.
It works on the 30th attempt.
Pretty much. All of the stars and planets and whatever else have to align perfectly for things to work sometimes, but we'll help you through it. RTLSDR.com is a great starting point for a whole bunch of tutorials and articles about things that are related to SDR. So if you have no idea what's out there or what sort of parts of the SDR world you might be interested in, that's probably a really good place to sort of get a feel for what this is. Again, you don't need to have super elite technical skills. You can have pretty much none, basic understanding of how the command line works to get started with some things. And you'll find, again, what sort of things you're interested in and where you might like to upskill so that you can do things that excite you more. But you will be able to do something with very little technical skill. So don't let any of that scare you off. I'm not a mathematician. I suck at maths. I really, really do. There have been a couple of times where I felt like that sort of prevented me from doing something particular that I want to do. With things like complex FFTs or what have you. But you don't need that to do vast majority of things that are out there. And the same goes with hardware. So there's no, I guess, hard and fast rule about what sort of stuff we'll be focusing on. But just to give like an indicative kind of response to that, we could be looking at things like breaking home automation systems, drones, miscellaneous RF devices, your garage door remote. Doorbells are a nice, easy thing to reverse engineer if you've never done it before. You can eavesdrop on satellites that aren't encrypted. You can build drop boxes. You can build special antennas to access, particular parts of the frequency. You can get your ham radio license and have conversations with people very, very, very far away. One of the things that we really want to do is sort of bring in more of a focus on CTFs. So reverse engineering is an easy one there because it just happens to be easy to create challenges to that effect. Something I want to try, and I'm not sure how popular or successful this will be, but I want to try and create a sort of hardware SDR hybrid CTF. The issue with this is it does cost some amount of money to buy bits of hardware that are there to, as part of the, challenge the device under test. And there's a chance you guys will break them as well. So I figured the easiest way to get that going is that anyone who's interested maybe can, help support the cost of the hardware, which I'm guessing would end up being around the $10 or $20 range, but honestly I need to look into it a little bit more. But then we can start doing things like trying to sort of decrypt encrypted signals because we have access to the hardware and can do things like power analysis and what have you. So I think that'd be a bit of fun. Other things we might do at some point are fox hunting. So we might go and hide some transmitting radio devices somewhere. We might even make a pub crawl and get everyone to sort of split up into groups and go hunt down the signals with antennas. I've been talking to Pam a bit for a while about potentially maybe somehow doing something that resembles like a Sydney versus Melbourne challenge someday. Obviously, there's a vast distance between Sydney and Melbourne, so if that does end up happening, that would likely end up being some kind of a road trip out in the middle of nowhere.
HF challenge.
Yeah, something like that. One day we were talking about renting a remote controlled crane and seeing which state can hack it the fastest. I don't know, we'll come up with something, I'm sure, that if there's any interest in going on a road trip, then we might be organizing something like that. So with equipment, the RTL SDR dongles, after you factor in shipping costs and things, tend to be around the $20 mark. If there's a need for them and there's a whole bunch of people who want them, we'll either put you guys in touch with each other so that you can save on shipping costs and just order them together. Or we'll go and buy a bunch and then anyone who needs one can sort of buy it at cost. We used to also offer live USBs for people who didn't want to go through the pain of setting up the software, because that means one of the organizers can set it up once, and we can just clone that USB drive over and over and over again, and then just sell you guys the USB at cost. So if there's any interest in that, then let us know and we'll start doing something like that again and try and get some ready for the next meetup. So we've got a couple of talks today. First up, we'll have Flux talking about making a HackerRef Dropbox. And then after that, Baz is going to help us get our heads around rogue APs, and there'll be a walkthrough or install fest afterwards for anyone who wants to participate. Yeah. You're up. Wait, sorry, does anyone have any questions? That's what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, why wasn't GNU Radio first?
It probably should have been first. I honestly wrote this at like 8 o'clock last night and started work again at midnight, so I tried to do the best I could as quickly as I could. But GNU Radio is awesome, extremely powerful, but it also has a really steep learning curve.
Painful to install.
Yes,
And
sometimes.
is that the learning curve, the install process?
Yeah, that's
Pretty much, it's like
Using it's
suicide.
easy.